Hello, everyone. It's Jeff again, and I am on another adventure, and I am on Main Street in Jerome, Arizona. And I would like to ask, have you seen the camels? Standing out in front of the Grand Hotel in Jerome, Arizona, I am reminded of my favorite uncle and one of the folklore stories he used to tell about the camels of the American Southwest. He would say, "Have you seen the camels?" It seems that the camels in the American Southwest have become a folklore tradition, like Sasquatch and aliens around Area 51. But they're actually based in fact. You see, once upon a time, a very long time ago, there actually was camels around this area, and they were documented, and we even know where they came from, which is the story that I want to tell you right now. In 1836, Major George S. Crossman, who was in the United States Army, he had been fighting in Florida in the American Indian Wars and now found himself in the American Southwest. He wrote a lengthy paper to the War Department saying that what they really needed was camels. And not very much was done about it because no one really took him serious until 1853, when President Franklin Pierce appointed Jefferson Davis Secretary of War. He thought it was a fantastic idea, and he wrote a lengthy report entitled Purchase of Camels for the Purpose of Military Transportation. In 1855, Congress appropriated $30,000 for the purchase of camels, and it was quite a monumental feat getting camels to the American Southwest. As a matter of fact, someone thought enough about it to actually draw a pencil drawing of them attempting to load the camels onto the boats to go down the river to come to America. A Major Wayne was assigned to procure the camels, and on the 4th of June, 1855, Wayne departed New York City aboard the USS Supply, a ship that had been built in 1846 and now was commissioned to sail to the Mediterranean Sea to get camels. Their first stop was Galata, then Malta, Greece, Turkey, and Egypt. In all, they acquired 33 camels, 19 females and 14 males. They also purchased all of the necessary harnesses and saddles for the camels because basically they had no idea what they were even supposed to look like. They also hired 5 camel drivers, some Arab, some Turkish, and on February 15, 1856, the USS Supply set sail for Texas. Strict rules were put in place for their care and feeding, and although one camel died during the voyage, 2 others were born. On May 14, 1856, 34 camels, a net gain of 1, were safely unloaded at Indianola, Texas. The ship immediately left on a second voyage and returned in 1857 with a herd of 41 camels. The second voyage also brought someone back from Syria named Hi Jolly. Jolly was a camel expert that the Army brought back to care for the camels and to train the soldiers how to ride them and how to care for them. And he loved being in America, and he loved the American Southwest. When he died, the Army erected quite a monument for him. And this is a photograph from the World War II era of a soldier that was stationed nearby, took the photo to send back home. The camels were well cared for, and they were loved by the soldiers, and when they died, they were often given very nice funerals and had plaques erected in their honor. Hi Jolly was the lead camel driver during the U.S. Army's experiment with the U.S. Camel Corps in trying to use camels in the dry deserts of the Southwest. After successfully traveling round trip from Texas to California, the experiment failed, partly due to the problem that the Army's burros, horses, and mules feared large animals, often panicking, and the tensions of the American Civil War led Congress to not approve any more funds for the use of camels in the American Southwest. In 1864, the camels were finally auctioned off in Benicia, California, and Camp Verde, California. But this is really only where the story begins, because after the camels were auctioned off, a large majority of them were turned loose in the American desert, and they became known as the Red Devils. The stories really began in 1883 at the Lonely Ranch at Eagle Creek near the Arizona-New Mexico border, when a woman was stomped to death by a strange-looking red-haired beast no one had ever seen before, with a devilish-looking creature strapped on its back. Then, only a few nights later, a party of prospectors was awakened to the thundering hooves and terrifying screams stampeding through their camp. Strands of red hair were found clinging to the brush. The red ghost attacked again a few days later. This time, the monster, described as being 30 feet tall, knocked over 2 freight wagons. Again, red strands of hair was found among the wreckage. When describing the animal, they all agreed on one thing: there was a human skeleton on its back. The legend began to grow until about a decade later, a rancher awoke one morning and saw the red devil grazing in his garden. He drew a bead with his trusty Winchester and dropped the camel with one shot. An examination of the corpse convinced all that this was indeed the Red Devil. The animal's back was badly scarred from the rawhide strands that were used to hold the body of a man, but how the human body became attached to the back of the camel remained a cruel mystery. A young Douglas MacArthur living in New Mexico in 1885 heard about a wild camel wandering near Fort Selden and reported seeing it himself. A pair of wild camels was reported in 1887 to be wandering near the New Mexico-Arizona border. The last highly publicized account of seeing a camel in the American Southwest happened in 1961, when a group of churchgoers in Texas was having a picnic and reported seeing a camel. Seeing camels in the American Southwest has become kind of a folklore thing. It's kind of like Sasquatch or space aliens or the Loch Ness Monster. As a wide-eyed youth, I was told stories by my uncle of him seeing camels down by Lake Isabella or the Salton Sea in Southern California, or out on the desert by Tucson. So remember, everyone, if you travel the American Southwest desert, keep an eye out for the Red Devil. He's 30 feet tall and has a skeleton of a man strapped to his back. Remember, everyone, be good to one another, think good thoughts, do good deeds, and I will see you on the next adventure.